On September 8, 2003 in Weihai City, just after 7 a.m., the entire city was still shrouded in tranquility. Chen Hao was riding his bicycle on the road. More than 20 minutes later, he arrived at his workplace, the Huanyu Gold store located on the commercial street in the bustling downtown area of Weihai. He took out his key, opened the rolling shutter door, and walked into the store. According to the usual practice at Huanyu Gold store, employees would store the gold and silver jewelry from the counters in a self-made safe before leaving work each day. The next day, when they arrived, they would take the jewelry out of the safe and place it back on the counters for display and sale. Chen Hao was humming a tune while wiping the dust off the counters with a cloth. Casually glancing up, he suddenly noticed a pile of jewelry boxes scattered messily in front of the self-made safe. A sense of doubt arose in Chen Hao's mind. He quickly grabbed one of the boxes and opened it. The jewelry inside was gone. Rubbing his eyes and looking more carefully, he saw that the San Juan brand iron lock on the self-made safe had been sawed off, and the door was ajar. Blood rushed to Chen Hao's head, and he couldn't help muttering to himself, "Oh my God! The gold store has been robbed." He stood stunned for a few seconds before suddenly snapping out of it, and hurriedly dialing 110 to report the crime. At 7:55 a.m., Officer Wang Jianzhong from the Chengli police station in Weihai City arrived at the scene with 2 auxiliary police members. By then, the store's 3 female clerks and 4 male clerks had all arrived. Seeing that the store had been burglarized, everyone looked distraught. In the midst of the panic, they realized that the on-duty guard, Lu Zhengwo, was nowhere to be found. "Where is the duty room?" Wang Jianzhong asked urgently. Several clerks led Wang Jianzhong to the duty room on the 2nd floor, but there was no sign of Lu Zhengwo. Could Lu Zhengwo have stolen the gold and silver jewelry and fled? Someone wondered aloud. Another person muttered in disbelief. "No way. Lu Zhengwo isn't that kind of person. He's very honest and has a strong sense of justice. He would never do something like this. Who has criminal written clearly on their forehead? That's what they mean by knowing a person's face but not their heart." As the clerks were debating heatedly, a thought flashed through Wang Jianzhong's mind. Could Lu Zhengwo have committed internal theft, colluding with outsiders to loot the store's jewelry and then vanish? He was about to contact 110 to request checkpoints to intercept and search for Lu Zhengwo when an older male clerk in the store said, "There's also a small attic on the 2nd floor next to the gold store. Usually, Lu Zhengwo cooks his own meals there in the evening, and then returns to the duty room on this side." Wang Jianzhong and the others quickly exited through the south door on the 1st floor of the gold store, passed through a narrow corridor, climbed a steep and narrow outdoor staircase, and reached the small attic on the 2nd floor next to the store. The attic had 2 rooms, 1 kitchen and 1 bedroom. The on-duty guard Lu Zhengwo was lying face down on a wooden bed in the kitchen, covered in bloodstains, his legs tightly bound with bedsheets. He was already a stiff corpse. Wang Jianzhong was shocked and immediately called to report the situation to the criminal investigation team of the Huansui branch of the Weihai City Public Security Bureau. Deputy Director Li Hongxing of the Huansui Public Security Branch, Deputy Captain Xian Jianya of the Criminal Investigation Team, and Instructor Wang Ke rushed to the scene with forensic technicians. Deputy Director Li Hongxing simultaneously reported this major case to the Criminal Investigation Detachment of the Weihai City Public Security Bureau. Deputy Detachment Leader Wang Xiliang also quickly arrived with forensic doctors and technicians. After on-site investigation and forensic examination, it was determined that the gold store's on-duty guard Lu Zhengwo had been stabbed 13 times in the neck, chest, and back with a sharp weapon. His right artery was severed, 1 stab pierced directly into the left lung, and there were defensive wounds on his right hand, causing death by hemorrhagic shock. After autopsy, his stomach was found to be full of food, estimating that Lu Zhengwo was killed 1 to 2 hours after eating. There were very few clues left at the scene. About 20 centimeters from the self-made safe, a Hahua brand hacksaw frame wrapped in newspaper and 5 saw blades were found. The newspaper was the Culture and Entertainment section of the Weihai Evening News dated July 21, 2003. Next to the self-made safe stood a regular safe containing unprocessed gold ingots and cash worth over 1 million yuan. The store owner said that Lu Zhengwo did not have the key to the self-made safe, but did have a key that could open the regular safe. Investigators immediately analyzed. The perpetrators could not open the safe with just a key without the password. Based on this, they inferred that after eating dinner in the small attic, Liu Jiangwo was preparing to go to the store for duty when he encountered the criminals face-to-face while descending the outdoor stairs. The criminals forced him back upstairs with a knife. During resistance, Liu Jiangwo was cut on his right hand by the criminal's knife. He backed up the stairs, leaving bloodstains at the left corner of the corridor. There were bloodstains on the light switch, smeared by someone wearing thread gloves, and also on the rolling shutter key, similarly from gloved hands. No fingerprints of the perpetrators could be extracted at the scene. This showed that the criminals had strong anti-investigation capabilities and were likely not first-time offenders. Behind an inconspicuous stool at the scene, a pair of blood-stained thread gloves was found, presumed to have been discarded by the criminals after the crime. That evening, the Weihai City Public Security Bureau established the 9/7 Special Task Force. Bureau Director Yin Xiueqing served as overall commander, Deputy Director Li Kaxing as deputy commander, Deputy Director Zhong Chen and Huansui Branch Director Zhao Wu as task force leaders, and Branch Deputy Director Li Hongxing as deputy leader. During case analysis, task force members expressed their views freely, but the conclusion was unanimous. This was clearly a robbery-murder case, likely committed by a gang and possibly by transients. The criminals were vicious and cunning, with strong anti-investigation abilities. It was estimated that they had already fled Weihai. Technical experts carefully compared the saw blades left at the scene, and unanimously determined that they were used for the first time, likely purchased new in Weihai for the crime, preliminarily indicating transient offenders. The rough saw marks on the San Juan lock of the self-made safe suggested that the perpetrator was clumsy in sawing but steady, indicating boldness and likely not a first-time offender. The task force first investigated the source of the hacksaw frame and blades left at the scene by finding stores or shops that sold such items. Another investigation team focused on screening people who had contact with the victim Liu Jiangwo. During the investigation, there were many leads, but few of real value. Leads came in one after another, and were excluded one by one. Finally, investigators uncovered an incident from half a year earlier. While on duty at Huanyu Gold Store, Liu Jiangwo had caught a thief on the spot and handed him over to the Chengli police station. The station immediately interrogated the thief, who was named Zhang Changxing and lived in a small village near Jiangsuan town. The task force command held an overnight case analysis meeting, concluding that Zhang Changxing likely harbored resentment, colluded with others to kill Liu Jiangwo, and then robbed the jewelry. Zhang Changxing was immediately listed as a key suspect. 3 officers, including Wang Jianzhong from Chengli police station, rushed to Zhang Changxing's hometown, only to learn from his family and neighbors. After being detained by the police station half a year ago, Zhang Changxing felt too ashamed to face people in the village, so he left to work elsewhere and never returned. On the afternoon of September 10th, a middle-aged man named Chen Wushi came to the task force with important information. Chen Wushi was originally a staff member of the Shuangyashan city government in Heilongjiang province. After developing a skin condition, he came to Weihai for hydrotherapy. During treatment, unable to bear the loneliness, he rented an apartment and kept a mistress named Baiyu. On the afternoon of September 9th, while Baiyu was acting coquettishly toward Chen Wushi, she said, "Lingling came to play with me yesterday, wearing rings on her fingers, earrings, and a shiny gold necklace around her neck, so glamorous." She said her boyfriend Li Gang had just given them to her. Lingling was Baiyu's colleague in the same trade. Baiyu's obvious intent in mentioning this to Chen Wushi was to get him to buy her a similar set of gold jewelry. Chen Wushi was a salaried worker with no ability to spend lavishly. After thinking for a moment, he said doubtfully, "What a coincidence, the timing matches perfectly. Haven't you heard that Huanyu Gold Store was robbed by a gang of criminals? The on-duty guard was also killed. Could Lingling's boyfriend have robbed the store and given her the stolen jewelry?" Though Chen Wushi was lax in his personal life, he hadn't forgotten his civic duty and voluntarily provided what he considered a very important clue to the task force. Lingling cooperated actively with the investigators, stating that her rings, earrings, and gold necklace were all given to her by her boyfriend Li Gang on the morning of September 8th. The fact that Li Gang gave his girlfriend the jewelry on the morning after the Huanyu gold store robbery naturally aroused suspicion among the investigators. Lingling's boyfriend Li Gang was from Heilongjiang province and had come to Weihai to work in the spring of 2000. He was tall and burly, looking like a tough guy. When investigators asked which store or gold shop he bought the jewelry from, Li Gang said he couldn't remember. When asked when he bought it, he said it was a long time ago. Li Gang's obvious lack of cooperation raised doubts. The investigators had no choice but to take the jewelry to the gold store owner for identification. Unexpectedly, the owner said, "These rings and earrings are different models from those lost in the store. They're not from our stolen items." Li Gang's suspicion was temporarily cleared. At noon on September 13th, several young investigators visited the Jiasin Hardware Standard Part store on Hongxia Street. A few days before September 7th, "Did your store sell any hacksaw frames and blades?" The owner Hu Shirkai recalled. "About 2 weeks ago, I sold 1 hacksaw frame and 6 saw blades." "What did you wrap the hacksaw frame and blades in when you sold them?" the investigators asked excitedly. Hu thought for a moment. "I remember wrapping them in a newspaper and then putting them in a light green plastic bag." "What newspaper?" the investigators pressed. Hu said, "A copy of Weihai Evening News. I don't subscribe to any others." "Weihai Evening News has 8 pages. You used 1. What about the rest?" Hu thought and said, "The remaining pages should still be here. Let me find them for you." Who retrieved the remaining 7 pages of Weihai Evening News from behind the counter. After comparison, the conclusion was that the hacksaw at the scene and those in Jiasin Hardware store were produced by the same factory. The culture and entertainment section of Weihai Evening News used to wrap the hacksaw at the scene, and the remaining 7 pages in the store were cut from the same complete issue. A glimmer of light appeared in the case. The task force decided to pursue it deeply and press the advantage. "Do you remember the physical characteristics of the person who bought the blades?" the investigators asked Hu again. Hu frowned and thought long and hard. The 2 men who bought the hacksaw seemed to have northeast accents, dark skin, and dressed like farmers. One was inside the door, one outside. The one inside wore a light gray shirt and light brown pants, about 1.70 meters tall. I couldn't see the face of the one outside clearly, and I have no impression of his clothes or appearance. Deputy Director Yu Gui of the Weihai Huansui District Public Security Branch led more than 20 officers from Qingli Police Station to work day and night, thoroughly investigating all privately rented houses in the district to track down the suspects. Officer Wu Junliang, responsible for screening rented houses in the Northwest Village area, had checked continuously for 2 days and nights, covering over 400 households in the district with no results. Wu Junliang thought, if there were renters without temporary residence permits, they might have been missed. He tirelessly visited residential buildings multiple times, asking nearly every resident if they had seen strangers. On the afternoon of September 15th, while inquiring at Building 7 on Hongqi Street, an old man who often played chess downstairs said that a strange woman had just gone out to buy groceries from Building 7. She might be an out-of-town renter. Wu Junliang immediately screened the owners of possible rented units in Building 7 on Hongqi Street one by one. When he reached the owner of Room 603, Unit 4, Ma Shirshan, Ma said that Ping'an Real Estate Agency had introduced a young woman named Yi Qianqian to rent his place. They agreed on 700 yuan per month, and Yi Qianqian generously prepaid 3 months' rent, 2,100 yuan. A week later, Yi Qianqian called Ma Shirshan. "The toilet is broken, please send someone to fix it." When Ma and the plumber arrived, they saw 2 men in the house, one very dark and thin, wearing a black short-sleeved shirt, the other with thick eyebrows and big eyes, tall and burly. A few days later, Yi Qianqian called again. "The toilet still isn't fixed properly, please send someone again." When Ma and the repairmen arrived, there were more men in the room, 3 or 4 in Ma's impression. Wu Junliang asked whether it was 3 or 4 men. Ma slapped his forehead. "I'm not sure, possibly 4. "When did they leave?" Wu asked. Ma said. "They stayed for over 20 days and then left without saying goodbye." Community Officer Wu Junliang and owner Ma Shirshan went to room 603 in Building 7. Opening the door, they found the room cleaned spotlessly. Floors mopped, faucets, toilet, drinking glasses, used bowls, empty beer bottles, and refrigerator door all wiped down. No fingerprints anywhere. Even the TV remote and other items were carefully wiped, leaving no trace. The renter's thorough cleaning surprised Wu Junliang. Since Yi Qianqian had not registered for a temporary residence permit, Wu Junliang had overlooked her during previous screenings. Wu recalled that when visiting neighbors of room 603, they all said, "We haven't seen men entering or leaving room 603, only a young woman." Wu thought. Clearly several men and a woman lived here. Yet downstairs residents only saw the woman and not the men. This could only mean these people were extremely cautious. Standing in room 603, pacing and thinking, Wu suddenly looked up and saw the nearby Huanyu Gold store. Especially the second-floor small attic where Lu Zhengwo was killed, everything clearly visible. Wu's mind lit up. He immediately felt that the several men and women in room 603 were suspicious. Wu checked with the neighborhood committee again. Staff member Wang Hongfang said, "I collected water fees from room 603. The woman was very generous, paying 50 yuan at once to avoid frequent collections." Wang found the water bill receipt. Wu saw in the signature column, Yi Qianqian, number 52 Wuhua Street, Hedong District, Shenyang City, ID number 3707237005XXXXX. Wu Junliang said firmly. Yi Qianqian's ID has two obvious issues. First, IDs starting with 37 should be from Shandong Province, not Liaoning. Second, Shenyang has Heping District and Dadong District, but no Hedong District. Clearly this ID is fake.